My mic isn't off. You just went deaf temporarily. Everyone in chat just temporarily went deaf. That's all that happened. Okay, how's the audio now? We good? We good? We're good? We're good. We're good. We're good. It's looking good. It's looking good. Don't call me a boomer. Don't call me a boomer. Util Day, I'll have you know that I was actually responding to one of your lovely little comments about whether or not we are going to be watching 80s horror movies tonight. And I was just saying that I watched Deathstalker. Deathstalker. Originally an 80s movie, but I watched the remake. Or not the remake, like I think it was the sort of the sequel. The unofficial sequel, except that I think it is official. The sequel to it, and it was pretty good actually. Not a horror movie per se, but kind of dark fantasy, a lot of violence, and a lot of great miniature ideas. Holy heck, there was a lot of really cool fantasy models in there. Potential fantasy models. Hello Discourse, I hope you're doing great. Thank you, Bronze Age Caveman. I am doing pretty well. Okay, so we're gonna start over. How is everyone doing? I hope you're all doing pretty good tonight. I hope you're doing well. Trying to wolf down my dinner. I've learned not to try swallowing during a stream, says Confused6. Nice. Never swallow. That's my motto. She's gonna be drinking a protein shake in this video. Nope, coffee, actually, coffee. It looks like to me like Discord has been approached to be the official model of GW. Oh dear. I don't think they would like that. I'm pretty sure they spat in my food at Warhammer World. So, yes, models. There has indeed been another model scandal. We're gonna go straight into it soon enough. John Carpenter's The Thing. It has no equal, says Stephen McGrath. The Thing is pretty good. I've never watched the sequel to it, which is, I think, follows the Norwegians. I never watched the sequel to it, but I've always wanted to. I didn't like The Thing when I first saw it, but I was very young, and then I rewatched it, and I thought it was very good. Jean-Claude Van Quam says, I'm doing awesome Discourse, 1.5 weeks into my 2-week vacation, so I'm happy to catch your stream live. That's awesome. Everybody needs a little vacation. Now's a good time for it as well. It's the best time. If I were to ever get a holiday, I think I would go on holiday around this time so I could go to a theme park when there's no children around. Ha ha ha! And then I get to ride on everything without any queues. That's the dream. Sequel's a bit of a non-event, says the Siberian. I guess there's nowhere you can go with it, right? Like, I mean, yeah, there's a thing. The Thing's gonna do the Thing stuff, and the Thing gets them. I mean, we know kind of how it ends, right? We know how it ends. And you can do shows like that can be good. Like Andor was excellent, even though we knew where it was going, because it was just masterfully executed. But it had quite a far-ranging scope. Same with Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul, arguably, to some, I'm not sure if I'll say this. I'm not sure if I'll say it. I'm not sure if I'll say it, but arguably Better Call Saul better than Breaking Bad. And we all knew how that would kind of end up. We knew the trajectory it was going into. But when executed well, I think prequels can do a really good job. I guess with The Thing, though, is that, like, they're gonna be on a military base in the Arctic, and there's gonna be a thing, and it's gonna impersonate them, and the dog, maybe, and then tentacles, and they're all gonna die. And you know. But I guess it's the journey that counts. Oh, what? The CGI? Hold on, Cyberian. You're saying that the Thing sequel has CGI monster rather than physical FX? Oh, that sucks. Yeah, written off. I've written it off. There, it's done. It doesn't exist. It didn't even happen. Yeah. We're gonna be talking about a lot of fun stuff today, I think, sort of. It's a weird time in miniature wargaming, right? With Warhammer, the new 11th edition is coming out, and Games Workshop are beginning to turn the old gears. They've got they've got the whip, you know, going, and like the wheel is turning for the Warhammer community posters, and they're slowly grinding up the marketing of the new edition, and it is honestly, I don't think it's going that great, to be honest. Let me know what you think. But that could have been the title. Is, whoa, the marketing for 11th edition, it isn't doing amazing, I don't think. I've been a little bit on what I've seen so far. And I'm not like, people like to say I'm a hater. I am not a hater. I am a lover. And I was really looking forward to 10th edition from the moment I heard about it, because everything the Games Workshop were saying sounded like the right moves to me, making it more accessible, making it easier to play, making it so that new people could get into the game a lot easier, making the rules more accessible. Everything sounded fantastic. This new edition, I'm just not too sure about it. Everything that I've heard so far about the game seems to be either okay, like, you know, like not bad, like okay, to neutral, to kind of yeah. And I think the worst part is that I can see this. There's something cheeky I think Games Workshop are going to do, and I think it's very cheeky. And I'm saying cheeky because we're having fun tonight, but it's also kind of a bit. It's a bit predatory. Okay, we're using the P word. No, not that P word. We're using a different P word tonight. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about it. Green Vault Gabriel says Conflict 47, baby. Oh, Green Vault Gabriel is all in. I want to know though, Green Vault. I have to hope that you had that name, Green Vault Gabriel, before Conflict 47 came out with the lore about the Green Vault. You're like, hey, this is gonna be my thing now. You know, like one came. It's like a chicken and egg thing. Beastmaster and its sequel, says the Viper's Bite. Yeah, I love Beastmaster. I love all those classic 80s movies. There was a time period there where we were just making art, and I don't know what happened. Something in the water, I guess. Maybe it was whenever they got rid of all the lead piping. We just weren't able to quite achieve the same nirvana that we could do beforehand. We needed the lead. Put it back in. You know, sure, there was an increase in crime and knife fights in the street, but hey, we got Beastmaster and its assorted sequels. So that's not bad. Probably worth. Orxic Fun, says Wutail Day. Orxic Fun, the Space Marine models are meh. Hoping Speeder is fun in a classic way. I think that there's a world where 11th edition was a lot more exciting for me personally. And as always, I'm just talking about myself personally. If you're super excited for 11th edition, I think work away. I think have a blast. I think just the difference is in the scope of what we're kind of seeing. With 10th edition, you know, they were really promising the world. Now, they didn't quite deliver on it, obviously, but they were promising the world, and that was fun to get hyped about. With 11th edition, they're kind of promising, you know, a newt. Just a newt. You're like, yeah, okay, I guess. Not sure if I want a newt, but all right. I mean, you're being kind of reasonable. You're being responsible in what you're promising. It's just that, you know, it's not the most exciting thing in the world. Like, it could have been a tiger. Would have been pretty exciting, if a bit dangerous, but I don't know. This analogy is getting away from me very, very fast. Mounted Game, says Colin Mack. It's almost like Colin Mack knows my plan tonight, because I've got a little scheme. I've got a scheme, and I hope you stick with me for the scheme, because it's gonna be schemy. It's gonna be very schemy. I'm tempted to see if we can do a what's the model scandal? Ask my Manic Monday. Okay, I think we just gotta go into it. I think we just go into it then. All right. Didn't even get to have dinner first. Jeez, straight into it. Okay, so obviously, whenever 11th edition was announced, they did a massive cinematic announcement, like big trailer for it, showed off a bunch of Space Marines. We talked about that live on stream. I did a video about it, and they revealed a whole bunch of stuff. They revealed a bunch of information about the gameplay. Well, a lot of vague promises about the gameplay. There's been more since then. It's been more substantive, which is good. And they showed some new models coming out that are for 10th edition, in between 10th and 11th. Honestly, it's all academic anyway. You know, it's just like an arbitrary date that they've put down. But, okay, so they showed off a bunch of those models. Those models were kind of interesting, although, you know, there's been some like little idiosyncrasies to the new models that I've seen from this isn't the scandal, by the way, but I've seen some little strange things about the new guard model, the new Imperial Guard models, actually, that was pointed out. I think I got pointed out on Reddit. Okay, actually, you know, I'm gonna ask, okay, chat, can you see this, okay? Can you see this? So, I wanna know, let's go to Warhammer Community. Let's go to Warhammer Community. All right, and I want to see if you can tell me if you can see what's happening. Oh geez, this website is so hard to navigate now. All right, hold on. It's not that hard. I'm just... What is it? Well, it was called a boomer? I was called a boomer earlier? Hold on. Okay. We're gonna zoom in a little bit. We're gonna zoom in a little bit. Oh god, we're gonna keep going back. Actually, I can't find it. Oh no. This is so embarrassing. Hold on, here's the Warhammer 40k latest. This is what I wanted to be at. Jesus Christ. Okay, hold on. There's a lot of pressure on me right now. I'm live. I'm live. This is like if you went to go see like the BBC, you know, whenever they weren't able to censor certain things. This is like that. This is me going like furiously trying to catch up. Okay, so, right, these are just trailers. Where's the thing I'm looking for? I'm not even sure. The clickbait on these things are not very good. Come on, show me a thumbnail. Guys, I'm looking for the new Guardsman stuff. Can anyone see it? Can anyone help me? God, I do feel like a boomer. I do feel like a boomer. Hold on, we're gonna have to Google it, I think. Wait, people still buy Games Workshop Imperial Guard? I do, sort of. I bought some stuff. I like the new Guardsman things. Here we go. I like the new Guardsman stuff, although it's very expensive for what you get, especially whenever there's like creators like Wargames Atlantic that are out there that are creating really cool looking stuff. Okay, so here we go. We're going all the way down. All right, let me see if you can see this, okay? So here we go. This is the new Guardsman car. It's the new car. It's the new SDFKZ number 118 or whatever they're called, right? This is oh no, sorry, no, this is an M3 half track. My mistake. I'm losing my mind. Okay, so there's that, right? And then we're gonna go to gamesworkshop.com. The board game company. Yes, gamesworkshop.com. And we're gonna go to the Armies of the Imperium. We're gonna go to Astra Militarum, and I wanna see if I'm gonna put them side by side. I'm really curious to see whether or not people notice what the big difference is between these two things. In fact, we could take. Okay, let's see. All right, so whoop. All right, here's the Leman Russ. Okay, here is the Leman Russ. Here's the Leman Russ from another angle, right? It's important that you can see the other angle. Okay, it's important that you can see the other angle. And then here is, where's the Chimera? Where's my little Chimera? Goodness gracious, here it is. Look at that, okay? Oh, that's an even better angle. You can see it from the front, okay? All right, now look at this, okay? You see this little glass here? Little glass here? Okay, now we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back and we're gonna look at this. Look at this. Who's in there? Who's in there? It's this guy. Or girl, actually, I can't tell. It's this person. It's this person's here. Right? With the little machine gun. With the little machine gun. Shooting. But here, the shooter's here. See? On the other side. These are all for UK roads. These are all for English roads. Because it's left-hand drive. Or right-hand drive. The one that the UK use. You notice? It was pointed out on Reddit. I saw it. I was like, damn, actually, yeah. And then this is right-hand drive, or the other way around. Right? The driver's here. They're in the other side. They're on the opposite side. The way the Americans drive. Because this is literally an M3 half-track, which is an American vehicle. Whereas these are kind of like amalgamations of things. They're not just a direct one-to-one copy. They're an amalgamation of different vehicles. You can see a bunch of different vehicles inside them. The Chimera is a box. Is a box. I think it's based on an APC. Yeah. So everything's the new. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Now everyone's going American supremacy. Everyone's going like American supremacy in the chat. This is not what that's about. I just thought it was really interesting. Now people were speculating, this isn't the scandal, by the way. This is like a little taste here. People were saying, is this laziness? Is this that they do? You know, is this on purpose? I mean, I do think that they've just taken an M3 half track and they've sort of Warhammer 40Kified it. And I think they knew what they were doing. But I think this actually maybe genuinely got missed. That in the Imperium, apparently they drive like the British do, which would make a lot of sense. But on the other hand, the Imperium are a hodgepodge, messy. They're messy bitches, you know. Like everything is always getting all screwed up. I mean, they lose millions of men every day. Jimmy Jam Jam's got the solution. Play the model upside down. It's the only way to play it. What a classic model. Where'd those start collecting boxes go? Yeah, the start collecting boxes went away because they were just too cheap a barrier to entry to the game, sadly. Which kind of blows. Grid models for Conflict 47, says Colin Mack. Actually, you know what, dude? You're correct. These would do, because I think they're kind of, all the Conflict 47 stuff is a little bit bigger. It's a little bit scaled, a little bit bigger. Whereas bolt action tanks and vehicles are a little bit smaller, The Chimera is basically a BMP-1. Okay. I knew that the Chimera was kind of based on some stuff, but I didn't know it was a BMP-1. And I don't know what a BMP-1 is. We're going to Google it. Kinda. I mean... Oh, no, It's very different, I think. I can see it. Like, I can see the design, but it's very, very different. It's definitely its own thing. It feels more like an amalgamation of stuff. Hi there from Ukraine, says Tara. Hello there, Tara. Hello. Hello from Ireland. My Manic Monday says, for me, this vehicle reminds me of the German SDK FZ251 from World War II. It's because it's very World War II coded, though. I think I do think there is a little bit of that with the rounded edges of the vehicle, but I think it's mostly an M3 half track. Yeah, there is. This one's a little bit straighter. It's a little bit straighter, which isn't always good. See where it's got kind of the rounded edges there, whereas the M3 half track has a very that's a good little profile picture. You see very straight, but I mean they're very similar. I think this is like maybe an older version of it. Looks a little bit more primitive, Chimera and Lehman Russ are more World War I tank inspired. Yeah, Thomas, they did. The Lehman Russ in particular was reminding me of like a World War I tank. Maybe just less turret action, which is kind of sad. I actually feel like they could have had a lot more turret space. But I will say about that, it's kind of interesting where the older models, which I guess are inspired by earlier period, they're all very World War I inspired. And then the newest stuff with the Rogel Dorn and this new Centaur, and they're all World War II inspired, which I don't necessarily hate. It would show a bit of progression in the setting, in the sense of they're creating newer, better tanks, more mobile warfare based tanks. In a sense, if for one, the Rogel Dorn and stuff wasn't just kind of retconned into the setting and said they were always there, and number two, Warhammer 40k, the good stuff should come from the olden days. You know, it shouldn't be that like we're inventing better tanks. The tanks should be worse, the ones that are made today, in my opinion, right? For me, all the good stuff should come from the STCs, the little programmable things that they find. The first gun trucks were just a flatbed with armor plates and mounted machine guns. Yeah, they were. And the best ones are still that. Just a Toyota with a gun. That's it. That's all you need. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about it. I thought it was very interesting. I probably bored a lot of people, but I thought it was neat. I thought it was neat that the sort of the drive has changed. And then this one is center drive. Notice that. It's center drive, which is a very British vehicle thing, actually, in World War II, apparently. World War II is an undying classic for soldier plastic games, says Tara. It sure is. People like it. They really like it. Some people are really into it. A little bit too much sometimes. You know what I'm saying. A big inspiration for the Lehman Russ is the French Char B2 heavy tank of the 30s, says Spurious Machinery. Oh. So, okay, the big actual issue here, the model scandal is, and I think if you've been on social media at all around the Warhammer spaces lately, you will have seen it yourself. Like it's kind of gotten, it's hard to miss, basically. So this, I was about to say semester. This week, Games Workshop revealed this model. I should have done some build up. Hold on. Pretend you didn't see that, okay? Pretend you didn't see that. This week, Games Workshop revealed a brand new model that's coming in the new Armageddon launch set for Warhammer 40k 11th edition. Oh boy, it's so exciting, and you'll never guess what they showed. See, I can do it sometimes. You'll never guess. You'll never guess. You'll never guess. Well, what could it be? Put a poll up. Let's tease it some more. It is the Vanguard Veteran. Ta-da! Huh? Huh? Look, it's the new Space Marine model. This is the new Space Marine model. And it was revealed this week, and people were like, don't like it. This model reveal has gone down like a lead balloon, like a real lead balloon. Like honestly, you'll never guess. A real lead balloon. This has been getting mocked a lot, and you might, if you're someone you're not like super keeping up with like Warhammer and stuff like that, if you're into other games, or if you're not even into Wargaming, you might not be keeping up with everything. You might be like, why? Like, look at it. It's a Space Marine, And I think if you're maybe someone who's excited for Firstborn Space Marines coming back, they didn't go away, but they're coming back now. Firstborn being the older versions of Space Marines that got replaced in like 2016. I can't even remember now. Well, they got replaced, and now there's new one. There's now new old ones. There's now new old ones, and the old ones are back. The old ones never went away, but now they're back. Okay, and this is one of the new old ones. It's very simple, and I think the issue is it's incredibly dull. Now, what were people expecting? It's a Space Marine. The box has Space Marines. I mean, frankly, it would have been a bit surprising if this guy looked like a toy stealth suit, right? Yeah, I get it. However, this model, frankly, it's the same model, you guys. It already exists. Like, this model is just one of these guys. Like, these are the same models. Now, I like they're here's door number 1, right? Here's door number 2. If this was Blind Date with the late great Cilla Black, I don't know if she's late. I don't know if she's gone or not, but she's lovely. She's great. There would only be one person here. There wouldn't be 2 of them. There would be no choice. These are the same people, and they'd probably be a serial killer, like that one time on Blind Date where there was a serial killer. So turned out later on they found out, which was kind of wild. But anyway, by the by. And yes, they're not obviously the exact same model, right? Okay, they're obviously not the exact same model. Look, this rock has a skull beside it, and this one has a little bit of metal. So it's a slightly different angle. In fact, if anything, this rock here is more like that rock there, but okay. And his sword is different. He's got a power sword. This guy has he has a power sword, but his one's more like a saber, so that's a little bit different. This guy is red with a golden helmet. This guy is blue with a red helmet, so it's very different. Otherwise, pretty much the same, right? There's like obviously a little bit of cloth, and obviously the big standout feature is that the head has a very slightly different grill. Now, look, I can appreciate that obviously it's going to be a Space Marine, right? Whenever Games Workshop they're doing the Armageddon box, and it's going to be a bunch of Blood Angels inside the launch box, and I think that's fine. And there's going to be a lot of people who are starting their collection for the first time with this launch box. The launch box will do really well. It always sells really well. So there's going to be a lot of people who will buy this, and it will be like their first Space Marines. And, why does it need to be reinventing the wheel every single time? And I think that's fine. And I think it's one of the things people were asking for a lot were Firstborn Marines. But this has gone down really poorly, just because it just feels like more of the same. It doesn't feel very exciting. And I think part of the element of this is this wouldn't have been like such a kind of lame reveal if they had have revealed a bunch of models all at once. Like, they had to show something more, but they're drip feeding out these reveals. Like, so far, what we have seen is this model, okay? This model, here he is from the side. Jeez. I have to choose a side. Hold on, how do I? And one other model, which was just an intercessor, right? With the old helmet, really. That's it. I need a reason to buy this box, says Hope Lives. I need a reason. Give me a reason. Remember those sweet Terminators and Tyranids in the last box? Yeah, like, I think that the previous box, so far from what we've seen, was a lot more exciting. Now, we haven't seen a lot of the orcs, and I think maybe that's part of the problem. I think they should be showing more of the orcs, because I think the orcs are going to have much more of a glow-up. I think it's going to be much more of a glow-up. Do they have 6 fingers? No, I don't think they do. I think they're fine, yeah. Compare it with Stern Guards. It's the same model, but with a pack. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it is really like it. Let's see. Let's look at the Stern Guards then. I can see the little cloth. There's a lot of similarities. There's the little things. There's little things, like the little Imperial Eagle's a bit different. But it's the same sort of vibe, you know? It's a very similar same sort of vibe. And I guess that's fine in a sense of it's the same faction, they should have a similar design sense. Yeah, except the Stern Guard have the midriff cloth. But if you notice, this guy has a little bit of cloth there. He's got a little bit of a cloth. It's gonna be... He's touching cloth. So, yeah, you know, part of the issue is that it's just extremely uninspiring. And I think that that's a problem for both variety and keeping interest from people. And also, I mean, one element that people don't talk about a lot is if I'm playing a game with a Space Marine player and this is on the table versus, you know, one of these guys, they're gonna have different rules. These are gonna have different rules. This squad is gonna have a different rule from this squad. Telling that apart is gonna be really hard. It's gonna be really hard during play. Yeah, really hard during play. And I think that there is space you can do with this, like the bring back jump pack Firstborn. I think has a lot of design space for it. I just don't know if they're quite hitting it right now. I think that they're sort of kind of missing out on it. But yeah, and guess what? It's not even the bad part. This isn't even the bad bit. This isn't even like the scandal part, really. This is just like controversial. People are just like meh on it. I mean, even Kurioff is doing a video being like, you know what I mean? Kurioff loves Warhammer. You need to look at the weapons. Veteran. What are these guys called? I don't know what these ones are called. I'm not up on my Blood Angels. Even though the Space Marine player in my community plays Blood Angels, my eyes kind of glaze over when he's describing them. And he's like, yeah, my guys are really cool in Vampire. And I go, uh-huh. Oh yeah, are they the ones that hunt down heretics, or are they the ones that hunt down heretics? Oh, they're the green or red ones, you tell me. These are... I love my Space Marine brothers, don't worry. These are the Vanguard Veterans. Okay, these are the Vanguard Veterans. They descend from above like 3 inches of death. Interesting. Now, this is all gonna be, I'm assuming, neutral, right? These are gonna be just Space Marines so that anybody can run them. It's not gonna have to, you're not gonna have to be forced to run a Blood Angels force here to use these, will you? Wolftramp says, it's probably an issue of how specific can you make these models. With Ultramarines, they could always be plain. Should have done Raven Guard and put in a detail frame that non-Raven Guard players just sell. I don't like that idea. I actually don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of making the models inside the launch box, which will then go on to become the starter box, very specific to a certain chapter. I think that keeping it generic does work in a big way, I think. I wouldn't want people to like be forced into playing a certain chapter, or at least be getting a little gribblies for a certain chapter, because then I think they would feel kind of a little bit of soft pressure to play those whenever, obviously they should be playing Ultramarines. Everyone should be playing Ultramarines. No, you should be making your own chapter, obviously. You should be making up your own chapter. I'm running that here. And then just switching what chapter you play as, depending on either the theme of your own chapter or whatever's strongest that month. That's the secret. You don't paint into like a official lore chapter, because then you're stuck playing the Blood Angels, and the Blood Angels rules suck. You paint them purple. You call them the the perp boys and you the P boys, and then you and then you go, oh, these guys are Blood Angels, and then next week you go, oh, these guys are Black Templar, these guys are Dark Angels, and now they're Ultramarines. Who knew? Everyone should be playing Tyranids, says Jean-Claude Van Quam. Yeah. I wish the launch boxes weren't always Space Marines, says Count Poro. I get what you mean. I do get what you mean in a really big way. There is a game that I've been checking out called Firefight, and they do starter sets. This is a Firefight, or a sci-fi miniatures game from Mantic Games. In a lot of ways, a big competitor to Games Workshop. Let's see. Let's pop over. Aha! Because I thought this would come up. So this is their starter set that they sell right now. I called Edge of Sanity, which is the Asterians, which are like these little robot guys. Which I actually have. I actually do have these. Wow. Look at these little guys. Oh, we're gonna do something here, chat. We're gonna do it. Set in the Warpath universe, says Colin. We're gonna do this. Boom. Check it out. It's my hand. You can see my hand. Look, I have models. Can we zoom in? Can we zoom in a bit more? There we go. Whoop, we're gonna move over here. So you can actually see here. So these are the models there. These are the Asterians. I put these together, and I think that they're pretty cool, actually. These are very new models from Mantic Games. And these are in the starter set. Now, Mantic do have like a sort of a Space Marine equivalent faction called the Enforcers that I don't know if they're like their flagship or they do the best, but they put Asterians in this one, because the thing they do, every single new starter set that they come out with, like, they put a new... They put a different pairing up of factions into it. So each edition gets a new starter set, then each edition has different models. So here you've got the Asterians. I saw this little guy made him with a gun, and these are like these are called the Cypher, which are pretty neat. These are pretty neat. These are lovely to put together. And the detailing on them. Let's see if I can get even closer. Oh, I can. The detailing on them is fantastic. Ignore all the paint and things on my hands. I'm a wargamer. What do you want from me? The detailing on them is fantastic. It's really, really nicely painted. Now, they're kind of newer sculpts. These are some of the older ones. And you can see the detail is okay on them, but these are like, what do you call them? These are posable. They're very posable, so they're sort of as dynamic as you want them to be, which I think is cool. You missed the bit with painting your nails, love, says Hope Lives. Yeah, I did. I paint a lot of minis, okay? I paint a lot of minis. But I actually did, speaking of painting minis, I did actually end up putting together a bunch of these guys, which are they're like the other dudes in the faction. Oh man, I want to say Night Lords. I don't know why I want to say Night Lords. It's not Night Lords. It's the Night Stalkers. Okay, Night Stalkers. That's it. Like the serial killer. We're talking a lot about serial killers today. It just keeps on coming up naturally. So I painted a bunch of these recently. I guess this is like the Tyranid equivalent, I suppose. I don't know. So these things are Night Stalkers. And I painted up an entire army's worth of these. All that starter set, I painted them all up in a single night. It took me a single night to paint all these. Literally slap chopped. Slap chop, bit of paint. These are the Reapers, and these are some of my favorite models at the minute. They look so good. I think if I were playing like a demon army in Warhammer 40k, I would use these models. I think these look great. I think in the fluff, they're meant to be like interdimensional horrors that break through reality and feed on the brains of the living or something, or the material. So kind of, I guess, a little bit similar to demons. They're horrors from beyond another dimension, and they're very cool. I love these models. This is one of my favorite sci-fi models. These will look great, I think, for a lot of different games. But I'm going to use them for Firefight, because I actually really enjoy Firefight. I've been playing Firefight recently, because we're in the lull, right? We're like in the lull between Warhammer 40k 10th edition and Warhammer 40k 11th edition, and so there's all these different models. So I showed you a Reaper there. This is like this is a mutant, which I think is like a dude. It's like half man, half Night Stalker. And he's like, there's a couple of different ways you can build him. You can build him as like melee creatures. I built this dude as a flamethrower guy. Like literally a flamethrower. He throws flames. So I painted up the green. And this is literally like slap chop, just dry brushed, sprayed black, dry brushed white, bit of dreadful visage contrast paint. And some rattling grime, and boom, you got these like weird creatures, weird little monster things. They look like guys you'd kill in like a Mass Effect game or something. They're pretty cool. And then you also have these big old guys. These big old like butcher dudes. Or these big beasts, big beastie guys, which are pretty cool. So yeah, they're pretty neat. I'll be honest, I quite enjoyed it. So I've been playing a bunch of Firefight, and I got the starter set. So, and I also got this. I also got this thing. I got this thing for me. I got this. I don't know what it is. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a big old monster. It's a big old monster thing. It's like a shellfish, I guess, but with tendrils and a lot of mouths. A lot of mouths for a lot of screaming. And this thing's just a beast. Like, it rolls around the map just eating people. It's got tons of health. It's like lightly armored. The thing about the Night Stalkers is that they're very easy to kill in terms of their health. They don't have a lot of armor, they don't have a lot of health. But what they do have is stealth. They're harder to hit than anything else. Everything is top. Everything about them, they're stealthy. And so even this thing, I guess because of the shadow and stuff, I think it looks really cool. I think it looks really cool. Oh, my left thumb does look like a sad face. The low crawling guys look like Resident Evil, says Confused 6. Yeah, they do. Actually, very Resident Evil coded. There's actually a Resident Evil faction called Mason Labs, which are like security forces, like private security with zombies. Like, so there's zombies and private security forces that are kind of like, yeah, it's a really neat faction. I really dig it. I really dig it. It's basically Umbrella Corps. So yeah, no, I was just checking those out, and I've been painting those up. I spent basically a single night, and I got the entire starter set and this giant monster painted up in a single night. I haven't started on the Asterians yet, but I think they might be as equally as easy. And yeah, so that's what Mantic do though, because this is the starter set for this edition, but the previous edition had a bunch of enforcers, I think, and orcs. I think they had orcs and space marines basically in the previous one. Ooh, maybe Games Workshop copying somebody's homework here. Games Workshop copying somebody's homework. And yeah, so they did that with the previous one, and they mix it up every single edition. I think even between editions, and I think that's cool. Like, I think it's cool to mix it up and to inspire people, because look, everyone says it, we all know it, Space Marines are the biggest faction. They make the most sales. Everyone knows the Space Marines are the most popular faction, and they've always been the most popular faction. It's not like if we started selling a starter box with like Tau versus Dark Eldar tomorrow, that Tau and Dark Eldar are going to become the most popular factions in all of 40k, right? That's not going to happen. However, it is a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, where when you put Space Marines inside of starter boxes, and new people, when they buy into Warhammer 40k, are always getting a bunch of Space Marines, well, you're just kind of predisposing people to getting into Space Marines, right? Is that Mike picking up a storm? It is. There's a storm going down. I think that's the music. I put on a little ambience in the background. Ooh, check it out. So yeah, if they were to mix up the boxes, I think you would get a bit of a healthier spread, and Games Workshop wouldn't have to release the same Space Marine model over and over and over again. But it's that 80-20 thing, right? Like, you put 80% of your effort into the stuff that makes you 80% of your profit. I think that's it. And then 20% into the other stuff. And that's kind of what's happening. That's kind of what's happening. That's my biggest problem with starter boxes, says Sean. It basically tells everyone to play Space Marines. Let's do a little poll. Should Games Workshop make a starter set for other factions? Because remember, they used to do those little like they did the Dark Eldar versus the Sisters of Battle one. They did Custodes versus Genestealer Cult one. They used to do these little sets that were one faction versus the other, and they tended to be, as time went on, they got worse and worse value, but they had two factions kind of bumping up into each other. And they've since replaced those with larger starter sets for one single mono faction. And I hate to say it, but I do think that the single mono faction bundle boxes are probably better. Because if you're someone who collects Dark Eldar, and the bundle, quote unquote, of value, quote unquote, for you is Dark Eldar versus Space Marines or whatever, and you don't care about Space Marines, well, you're still going to want to buy the box, because what they used to do was put an exclusive model in there. So now you have to buy a bunch of Space Marines. It sucked. It sucked. Purge carry indeed. But that all said, there is an even darker secret to all this stuff about the models. An even darker secret. And it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks to say it out loud. I think we all know it, like, kind of intrinsically in our heart of hearts. I think we know it in our core element. And let me know if you agree in chat. Let me know if you agree or disagree in chat. But these new Space Marines, what are they? They are, whoops. They are deleted from my browser. I closed the tab. They are, they're firstborn, right? They're firstborn Space Marines. They're firstborn Space Marines, but in the scale of Intercessor Space Marines. They're Primaris firstborn, right? They're firstborn Space Marines. They wear all the get-up with the firstborn. They have some of the drip. Don't think they quite captured it again. They have some of the drip of the previous ones. And sorry, did she talk about the new awful Vanguard vet? I'm not sure the firstborn Vanguard vets, which are still on sale. No, I didn't. I did. They are firstborn Space Marines, but in the Primaris scale. There is still a bunch of, yeah, as Scepter does say, there are still a ton of firstborn models out there. And I have a feeling, and I think we all kind of can see this coming down the line, that Games Workshop are going to legends the old firstborn models. They're going to put them into Legends. And in a lot of ways, this entire scheme now to sort of update the firstborn into the Primaris scale is essentially, if we were to look at it cynically, and as if we were trying to maximize our profits, if we were a business, it's designed to get people who bought into the Primaris line to buy now a brand new line of firstborn Space Marines at the rescale, at the scale of Primaris stuff, updated to be in line with the current model library of Games Workshop. So in other words, instead of just, back in like 2016 or whenever it was the Primaris were coming out, instead of just updating the models then to just be at a new scale, the way everyone wanted, instead at that time, they invented an entire fiction around why there had to be new models so that they could sell the entire new Space Marine library to Space Marine players again. They're now doing the exact same thing. They're doing what they should have done 10 years ago today to do it again, to sell the entire library of Space Marine stuff to Space Marine players again. It's insane. It's wild. It's crazy. Someone should stop them. What the heck? What's going on? What is going on? It's absolutely wild. It's absolutely wild. I said before, just put bigger bases underneath, says Nosbig Damas. Look, the thing is, they should have just updated Space Marine Firstborn back in 2016 when they had whenever they're going to do it. I don't think anyone would have been upset about that whatsoever. I don't think there needed to be new lore. They didn't need to like move the setting on in order to do that. People wanted new scale Space Marines. There probably would have been some people complaining about it, but they should have just done that at the time. Let people play with their old Firstborn, start selling new models that are in the bigger scale. Everyone wants the Space Marines to be at a bigger scale. Instead, they sold Primaris, changed the look of them, and then have now kind of walked that back after 10 years of it, and are now selling the old stuff again. It's absolutely crazy to say it out loud, but I think we all know it's the case. It's the truth. They're just monetizing Space Marine players again. And I'm actually not sure what their plan is long term. Because in 2032, surely they cannot remonetize Space Marine players with another model line. Surely then they cannot do it. So what's their plan then? What are they gonna do then? Yeah, so it's kind of wild to me. It's absolutely insane. I think there's probably gonna be a video about this. I think it's absolutely crazy. Whenever you start to think about it in those terms, it starts to feel a bit egregious. I'm happy for new models. I think that there's probably going to be a lot of Space Marine players who are very happy for new models. There's going to be a lot of people who are into Firstborn who are happy to buy new Space Marine models that are Firstborn. But whenever you put it in context, I think it's just kind of crazy that they did this circuitous path that just so happened, innocently, just so happened to maximize the profit for Games Workshop entirely. Just so it's like so hard, guys. It's so fucking hard. They have so monetized it. It's admirable, you know. It's like admirable almost. Just the balls to do that, to sell new Space Marine, to sell Space Marine players who had entire miniature collections collected and done. They were like, I'm never gonna buy a new model. I got everything I need here. I got 2,000 points. I got 4,000 points. To then go, okay, boom, here's your new model library. Okay, fine, Games Workshop, I'll update to this new aesthetic, I'll update all this sort of stuff. Bam! New model library! And probably they're gonna legend all the old stuff. It's kind of wild. I think if the models look good, I think that people are probably gonna be happy enough to buy new miniatures if they look good, generally speaking. But again, it's coming back to the well. It's coming back to the well. I didn't mind it so much when it was Eldar getting updated, right? Because like the Eldar sculpts are like so old, but these Space Marine sculpts, a lot are getting replaced. They're like within the last couple of years, you know? And bear in mind, like, it probably is going to coincide with all the older Firstborn stuff going away. Can you even win playing a pure Firstborn force, says James Young. I mean, in my opinion, but I don't play competitively, right? I don't play competitive Warhammer, but I would just say proxy everything, you know? Like, proxy it all. Like, an intercessor looks like a tactical marine, basically, from a distance. If you're not a Space Marine player, and you're not in congruence with all of the nuance of it, and the you know, like the chin plates or whatever, they're kind of thus, you know, the same. Scepter says, I buy upscaled exact replicas of tactical assault and devastator squads, to be fair. The Primaris assault jump intercessors are bad models. CAD copy and paste jobs. They really are copy and paste jobs. I don't know. I think the Firstborn Space Marines as well are going to be a little bit uninspired too. I think they're playing it a bit safe with them. Like, it's kind of funny. I feel like they have been going quite risky on the orcs. They're actually changing the proportions on the orcs a little bit. It's been a little bit controversial. I like it. I like it personally, but it's been a little bit controversial. However, the Space Marines, I feel like they're playing it very safe. Chin plates. I was just making a joke about like how their shins are slightly different, and they have little beads and things like that. Purity seals where purity shields do not go. So that puts us at a time now in wargaming. I think there's gonna be a lot of people who play Warhammer 40k who are now basically they're in between editions. They're in between editions. And I like that. I like that time period, personally. Because when you're between editions of Warhammer 40k, that gives a little bit of space for other games. I think people are at a time now where they might be more willing to check some stuff out. Bless you, PR. One-page rules. I think people are going to be at a space now where they can kind of check out other games. Because why get more invested in this current edition when there's a new one coming out? You've got to rebuy everything. Do any armies need a codex right now? Has any army still not got a codex? I think everything's got a codex, right? By this stage. I think everything does. I know all my armies do. So, I didn't buy a single codex this year. Oh no, I did. Actually, at the very beginning of 10th edition, I got scammed. I got scammed. I got totally scammed by Games Workshop. I bought the data sheets. What was I thinking? I bought the data sheets. Friends were like asking me, oh, well, you're down at Games Workshop. Will you pick up the data sheets for me? Oh, sure. I'll pick you them up. Never again. Never, ever, 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 ever again. I got burned before, and then I got burned again. I got burned this edition. Not again. It's not happening. It's not happening. The data sheets are like... Everybody bought data sheets at like 10th edition. At the launch of 10th edition. Okay, you got your index cards, and then they were rendered irrelevant by the codex. And then the data sheets that were sold alongside the codex were then rendered irrelevant. It's kind of rough. Yunari never got a codex. I don't think that they're going to get a codex, though. For a while. Can I tell you a secret? I don't know. Does anyone else agree with me? I kinda hate Yunari. As a Dark Eldar player, I kinda hate Yunari. I kinda prefer the factions to be separate but equal. That's a pretty normal thing to say. Separate but equal, I think. For the Eldar. For the Eldar. Ratty Pumpkin says, every living game, unfortunately, relies on power creep, force rules, updates, and FOMO. See D&D, Pathfinder, Magic the Gathering, every game is a service video game. Well, I would agree with you to some extent. But I would actually say that games like Pathfinder and D&D don't necessarily... Power creep is a thing that happens, and it happens naturally in game design, because as you fill in gaps, it becomes harder to create new stuff, right? So whenever you're first making a game, you got a lot of low-hanging fruit there. You can be like, oh, this guy gets +1 at shooting somebody. Oh, this guy gets +1 when he's behind cover, right? That's all fine. Like, you've got so much space to work with it. You got all this game design space. By, like, expansion pack 32, you're like, okay, this guy has +1 behind cover. Ah, shit, we already gave that to somebody. All right, he has +1 when shooting. Fuck, we give it to somebody. Well, what's he good at? Like, what's this guy good at? We want him to be good at melee. Okay, we can't give him +1 to melee because there's some other person that has that. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to give him +3 melee, okay? But we're going to make it, right? So that's better than the previous one, but we're going to make it really contextual. Really, like, it has to be on a full moon. Okay, and then you're like, boom, cool. We've made, it's kind of powerful, but it's got this little thing that we've never done before. So here you go out into the wild. Then it goes out into the wild, and players start like changing the date on their phone so it's a full moon or whatever, and people are like, oh, I guess I always get the +3, and then that's just strictly better than the guy who had +1, right? Now you've just this +3 dude. There's just always going to be harder game design space to iterate within whenever a game has been out for a really long time, and that's why power creep happens, you know? I think some of that is commercial as well. I think sometimes companies want people to be excited and interested in new stuff that comes out. I think that certainly probably happens in Warhammer. I didn't used to think that that would happen, but then I think throughout the entirety of 10th edition, it basically just was like, no, that happens. I'm pretty sure that happens. No, it wasn't 10th edition, it was 9th edition whenever the Votan came out, and it's just like, damn, you know? That's a combination of, though, of lack of play testing, lack of time to iterate and play with it, and we know this now from every designer that's come out of Games Workshop has pretty much criticized the amount of time that they had to actually make the games and balance the games. And that was true of Necromunda, that was true of Spearhead, it was true of Age of Sigmar, and I imagine it was true of Warhammer 40k as well. And so it was all of that stuff, plus a little bit of like, you know, it's not too bad if the new stuff is strong. This wouldn't be the worst thing. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Hope Live says, I don't invest in anything you have to maintain as a service anymore, ever? No exceptions. No exceptions. Yeah, well, you know, look, I think that a lot of war games are designed this way. I think a lot of them are. There's always going to be, like, updates and stuff, for sure, to a lot of war games. And for a little bit of that, that's kind of part of the fun. But it's just the pace of it is different, right? Because there's games like Magic the Gathering, I think is the worst for this. The card game, this is like the worst for this. There's like a new set of Magic the Gathering cards every other, I want to say week. I want to say week. And it is, they're always insane. Like, it's always more busted than the last one. But there's this secondary market to Magic the Gathering. Jeez, can you imagine if there was a secondary market to Warhammer that wasn't, if you put paint on your model, it instantly loses 50% of its value, right? If people were hoarding collections of Warhammer and being like, oh, this will be worth something one day. RPGs can deal with power creep to a point by catering games. War games are too rules dependent, says Adam K. Well, it's okay in RPGs to an extent because it's like less of a problem because it's a cooperative game. It's cooperative. So if it's cooperative, like who cares? Oh, I can kill the NPCs better than you. Yeah, well, whatever, you know. But if we're playing like a competitive game and you're just better than me, that sucks. That sucks. Let's see. Scepter Isle says £27 for a single 28mm plastic character from GW versus £27 for a single plastic monster from Archon Studio. Damn. Okay, nice. Yeah, that is better. Archon have that StarCraft game I think might be making some waves that I really want to check out. I really want to check it out. There's some really interesting games out there at the minute. And I think I was saying earlier that this new edition, the fact that we're in between like 11th edition now and 10th edition, it's kind of the perfect time now. I would really recommend going out there and trying up some new stuff. Like, this is a good time to do it and try to see if local communities are into trying out some new games as well, because this is the moment. I actually have been trying out some new stuff myself. Been trying out some things. Some of them a bit different. I'm actually going to have a video, so I'm going to have a video out very shortly about a bunch of things that have been exciting me lately. One of them is, I mean, we were just talking about Firefight, but I got some Kings of War as well. I got some Kings of War. Let me see here. Got some of these guys. It's like, I don't know how to describe them. They're doggies. They're doggies. Whoop. I haven't based them yet. Went for like a green and gold classic kind of like, they're like gnolls. They're like gnoll monsters. These things are tall, man. These things are really tall. Like if, can I get a normal person? Can I get a regular dude? Let's see. These aren't necessarily from the same game, but you can see the size difference there. Although I think this guy wins in a fight. These like gnoll creatures. So these were in the Claws in the Sand starter set. I had to look it up there. Oh god, I can't. Civilized gnolls. So they run like this giant, I mean, it's very kind of Chinese coded empire. Although the gnolls themselves have a, I'm getting used to this camera setup. I just got it, okay? I picked up a big frame and had to run it all around the room. It was exhausting and very expensive, but I have to show off models, right? I have to show off the miniatures. So yeah, they're like a Chinese kind of like gnoll faction, which is pretty cool. I think this is like a new edition of Kings of War. If you don't know Kings of War, it is a rank and flank fantasy game that is very similar to like Warhammer Fantasy, but it is a lot easier to play, let me tell you. a lot less maneuvers. What's interesting is you've got this combined nerve and health stat, so you can't be killed by ranged attacks. So you have to be scattered in melee, I think. Red Warning Light, thank you very much for the 1999 donation. I appreciate that so much. It says thanks for the hobby chat. Always good to hear your game reviews. Oh, if you like my game reviews, plug. You like my Patreon. Actually, I want to talk to you guys about that soon. Because on Patreon, I do a lot of reviews. I talk mostly Warhammer on the YouTube channel because that's what people want to hear about. I've got a lot of opinions on it. But I do a lot of like other war game stuff on Patreon for my special members. But thank you very much, Red. I really appreciate that. It's really kind of you. It's really nice of you. So yeah. Whoa. I really am getting used to this camera setup. Yeah, these are like the little G guys. I think they're pretty cool. I think they're really neat. I think these are really fun. Now you're meant to, I was bad. You're meant to like multi-base them on these bases. So if you look at the, if you look at this, right, you're meant to like put them on these, like this is all one base, which is pretty crazy. Hold on, I want to make myself a little bit bigger. I've got a little bit of an ego. Let's make me a bit bigger. No, I'm not a miniature on the table. Yeah, you're meant to put them all in like one big base, like this, because you track the health loss with a little die beside them, basically. Which, it's good and bad, right? So this is a right and flank, so it's like, you know, you're wheeling and you're turning and all that jazz, and it's melee, and you both clash into each other, and you fight, and it's a fantasy world. And it's good and bad, right? In the sense of, what you could do is, because you've got all these guys, you've got all these guys on one big base, you don't have to use all of them, right? So you could maybe get, with the sprue, if you get 10 of them, you could put like a bunch on one base, a bunch on another base, and get like 2 units out of them, because it's just 1 unit per base. It's just all about the base dimension. But what you could do, which would be even cooler, is diorama them. You know, do a little diorama in each base, because the base doesn't change. It's not like in Warhammer Fantasy where you're kind of plucking up individually base models every single time they lose a wound. And I think that's really cool. That's really neat. If you aren't aware, Kings of War did literally just have a new edition, and this is the starter set for it. I think it's a pretty good starter set. £100 gets you all the stuff, I think. Though I would recommend using my Wayland Games referral link. You should be able to get it a bit cheaper there, get it a little bit cheaper. And I just think it's really cool. I think it's a really neat game, super fast paced. If you're into like fantasy stuff, I think it's something that you might be interested in. I've had a blast painting up the gnolls. And now I want to paint the fish guys. I want to paint the fish guys now, because they remind me of Murlocs. They remind me of Murlocs from Warcraft 3. I really want to paint them. There's these little fishermen. Oh, they don't have the pictures of them. I don't have the bases, like the models to hand. Crypto Kev, thank you very much for the $10 donation. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, Kev. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Really appreciate that. Really, really appreciate that. Cullen says, I have all of my kings all multi-based. So what I did was, I did do this. So I put them on the circle bases, and I've printed off, I've 3D printed some unit trays, so I can just put them on. And that means I can also use these for like skirmish games, which is where they're probably gonna get a ton of use. I'm using them for skirmish games as well. So, you know, if you're in between editions of Warhammer right now, there's other stuff out there. There's Kings of War, there's Firefight, there's all sorts of stuff. Trench Crusade, I think, is a big one for a lot of people, especially because it's very easy. It's very easy to like do a skirmish game. You know what I mean? Like just jump into a skirmish game, paint up like 10 models, 9 models, and have a few games of it. I just feel like skirmish games are a much more casual experience, to be honest. Hope Liv says they look cool. I really need to look at some of these minis you're showing. Yeah, like I think one of the big things are, and we're gonna feel it a lot now, is that there's a lot of hype around new editions like Warhammer, but the new Warhammer isn't coming out for like months, right? It's not coming out for months. It's gonna be something we're gonna hear about a lot. I feel like in that time it'd be a good time for a little hobby project. I know for me, I've been trying out a whole variety of games lately. I think they look horrible on circles, says Colin. Well, I think they look lovely on circles, Colin. I think they look brilliant. I don't mind a square base. I do like a square base, but it really does. When you put a model on a square base, it really limits it in terms of its utility for other games. And I play a lot of games. I play a lot of like model agnostic games. I'm always on Wargame Vault, checking stuff out, playing them, you know. Yeah, so I love the circle bases. And actually, hold on, 1 second. Let's, one moment. Actually, if we're looking at models, and we're talking games, I actually did get sent out something recently. I did get sent out some really random stuff, which we could just look at. We could just look at it right now. Oh, damn. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it, actually. I was sent out this. I need a knife. I need a blade. Just in general, I need a blade. I need a blade. Yes, a rusty old hobby tool will do. Will suffice. Oh, can I can show a blade on stream, right? Like, I'm allowed to do that. I think you're not allowed to show swords on streams. You know, I actually think your YouTube channel gets banned if you show a sword. These people do not like Deathstalker, let me tell you. You can use any base for any game if you believe in yourself. Be Kevs in yourself. I was sent out this recently. Should we zoom out a little? Ooh. How do I zoom? How do I zoom? There we go. Yeah, there we go. Because we were just talking about Trench Crusade. And there's been a bit of a... There's a lot of Trench Crusade models out there. There's obviously the official ones, but I saw these Winged Crusaders from Witch Art Studios. And I thought they looked really cool. So these are... They're Prussians. These are the Winged... Sorry, they're not Prussians. They're not mere Prussians. These are the Winged Crusaders from Witch Art 3D. Witch Art 3D, let's see. They sent these out, and it looks like you get a whole ton of stuff inside them. 3 mechanized hussars, 8 police troopers, 4 Lithuanian shock troopers. And I just think that these were perfect for Trench Crusade. I mean, like, obviously, you've got that vibe, and, ooh, it's actually really nicely packaged. Oh my goodness. Wow. I think usually with 3D printed stuff, because I think these are all 3D printed, usually with 3D printed stuff, you expect that there'll be a little bit, I don't know, just like I ordered some War Master stuff lately, and it just came all in baggies, which is fine, but this is nice. This is nice. Yeah, so they sent out a bunch of 3D printed, you can see here. These are the big robot guys. I think these would be perfect proxies for the big mechanized troopers. On a new Antioch list. Ooh. The detailing on these is very nice, actually. I think these will paint up really nicely. I think some bolt gun metal, purple cloth, maybe. What's the German color? What's the Prussian Lithuanian color? What is it? Matty Bullet says, I quit 40k and instantly got a girlfriend and my life turned around. Highly recommend putting up the Spaceman toys if you're not hitched yet. No. This is bad advice. I recommend sticking with the miniatures. It's packed like a goth Easter basket. The right one will love those Space Marine toys. It is a goth Easter basket. It really is. Oh, look at this. Damn, these are actually... So these are 3D printed, huh? I think 3D printing technology is really coming along. These feel so solid. Yeah. See, whenever I think 3D printed models, sometimes I kind of think the way they were like 9-10 years ago. And it's just so... It's so better now. There's so much higher quality. Oh, look at the little apron. This one's got a little apron on him. What's going on there? I actually love this one. Hold on. This is a perfect body. So these are like... These are pretty much... Let's move some stuff. So these are... They're like this. So if you're sick of kind of having monopose models, this is pretty much the perfect way to get them based. Is to get them sent to you. Is to get a big massive bag filled with options. Let's see some of these here. These are pretty cool, actually. I kind of want to check it out. Damn, the consequence. I'm not sure how I'm going to tidy this up. So here he is with a big old machine gun. That is a nice gun. It actually looks a bit like an orc gun. I love it. These are from Witch Art 3D. Hold on, let me see here. I think I've got their... Let me pull this up. This is from... There we go. Boom. This is from Witch Art and 3D printing. Looks like they do a bunch of different stuff. They're based in, I think, the UK. Looks like they do a lot of fantasy models too. Ooh, what's this? Oh, I like this. This is neat. This is neat. He's only wearing the apron, says Olaf. Just the apron and nothing else. Then you go to war. That would be my suggestion. 3D printing is great, says Ratty. It makes niche models way more commercially available, whether you have a printer or not. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, so, oh, these are the Highland minis. Yeah, like you can, right, like, you can just get a bunch of models 3D printed for you and sent out. Now these are, it looks like a lot of Warhammer fantasy stuff, especially Empire coded, but these are their Winged Crusaders. The Winged Crusaders, and it looks like they've got just so much options, which is really cool, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of like multi-pose models. That's why I kind of like Mantic Games, why I was a big fan of the Firefight stuff. And I really like being able to kind of pose and customize the models. And I think like Trench Crusade, for example, is a game that really rewards that. But these would work really well, even for, geez, even for like Weird World War game, like any sort of settings, like the Last War. This guy would actually make a great, you know what, these would actually do great, these would be great proxies for Conflict 47 as well. Let me see the heads. I need to see the heads. Oh, is there like a shoulder or something like that? How do I get these heads on? These heads are really nice. So that's a helmet. They're like, they look a little bit samurai, but I think they're, they do look a little bit like samurai heads. And then there's these big, of course, you gotta put on a lot of winged hussar business. A lot of winged hussars. These are neat. I dig these. I'm a big fan of these. Oh, I love this. This is like an axe. On some of them are running. Looks like the poses are a little bit different. This is like an axe banner, which is kind of cool. Mantic Firefight is so underrated. More people need to check it out. I agree, last remembrance, sir. I will actually be talking about it in a new video. And in it, I basically refer to it as Warhammer, but just a bit better. It's like a fantasy heartbreaker, but applied to the Warhammer 40k. I love this big shield. Yeah, these are cool. These are cool. I've kind of gravitated towards the big, massive knights. I gravitated towards those guys. Whoops. But that's because, come on, they're giant knights. Like, you know, that's pretty cool. Come on, Space Marine players, back me up here. Back me up here. Oh yeah. I like these. I really like these. I think with the, you know, with these multi-pose models where you get to customize them a lot, you gotta sort of imagine a little bit what you're gonna get. What size are those figures? They're huge. Well, these guys are massive. I think these could really double as like mechanized infantry in the new Antioch force for Trench Crusade, which I know a lot of people are into. For these, though, these are actually great, and you get so much in them. Like, this is the one box. Hey, you can have a peasant with a halberd, sort of a spear, like some sort of nice. Or oh, or you can have apron guy with a big SMG. This is actually a massive SMG. It's got a huge drum-fed magazine. Look at the size of that. That's crazy. They're 32mm scale, but they're huge. Yeah. Yes, they are. I think they're scaled to be kind of Warhammer, Trench Crusade, that sort of vibe. But I would actually use these. I think these would go great. I mean, so these are meant to be Prussians. So these are Prussians. These are like alt history Prussian models with a whole ton of options in here. There's actually so much. You got, this is a rifle. You get a bunch of rifles, which to be expected. Some with bayonets, some without. Looks like you get an LMG, like an old school LMG. Yeah. So very Trench Crusade coded, I would say. I think they would work really well in Trench Crusade. I'd probably honestly get these over the official models personally, just because the official models, you buy them and you're kind of locked in. to the choice, like to the models there. Whereas there's just between the shock troopers, the giant robot guys, which you get multiples of. If you're gonna do like a campaign of Trench Crusade, you're gonna need a whole ton of different models. Because I've been in a Trench Crusade model. Whoa, in a Trench Crusade campaign, and you do not get enough in the kind of, because I've got the Heretic troopers, the Heretic Legion, and you just don't get enough whenever you buy the basic one. You're gonna need to buy more stuff. At least with something like this, you're kind of good to go. This is cool. So this looks like, this is like, he's got like a big cloth shoulder with horns, and he's holding a helmet, it looks like to me. So that's very neat. That's cool. I do like it. I do dig this. I dig this bigly. I dig it bigly. Hey, here's a guy with a little, this looks almost like vampiric. Is that Japanese? Am I losing my marbles? Is this more Saxon? Is this more Saxon? They're Polish. Let me whack in. Let me whack in some of these options away. Looking back at skill creep over the decades, it's a fun part of the hobby. I painted up some of the 1980s Ral Partha humans the other day. Only really fit to the halflings or gnomes now, says Ratty. Skill creep is crazy. We're about to see a really big one with the Space Marines and the Firstborn. Oh, hold on. You need to see this. Hold on. This is cool. I like this. This is probably... It's probably my favorite. Oh! Like, hold it on. That's nice. Yeah. Okay, it's all coming together. Then what? You stick on these? Oh my god, I just noticed. That's where these go. You put the winged tips. Is it like that, or would it be like that? Which way is it? Tell me, chat. No, it would be like that? Like this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm making an ass of myself. Wouldn't be the first time. Wow, there's like tons of bits in here. There's like little bullet belts and stuff. That's wild. That resemble the Polish winged hussars, says Arbiter Alex. Yeah, but only, I guess, on foot, because the winged hussars were cavalry, right? I found the little metal soldier yesterday in my basement. He was like knee height of a modern Space Marine, says Darth Vader. Yeah, so I don't mind a little bit of skill creep. I have these cosmic encounter models here. Actually, I'll show you those in a minute. That are 28 millimeters. And they look good. They look really good, actually. But they don't sit beside a Space Marine and look like reasonable. You know what I mean? Like they... So let's see, hold on, let me show you. I'll show you the box. So for everyone who's interested in that, this is from like a smaller indie company. So always worth supporting smaller indie companies. Always a big fan of that. Always a fan of supporting smaller creators in the hobby. These are the Winged Crusaders Expeditionary Force. Looks like you get 8 riflemen, 4 shock troops, and 3 of the big giant robots. 3 of the big giant robots, and handily it shows you everything on the back. This is like great packaging for a online seller of 3D parts. This is great packaging of that. Created by Fat Rat Miniatures, printed by Witch Art 3D with Wargammer resin. That's nice. Modular multi-kit. Yeah, these are really neat. These are really neat. Witch Art Studios. Witch Art 3D print studios. I'd recommend them. They're pretty cool, and all the prints there look perfect for me. I did get some more stuff. I got a bunch of these bases as well, which look pretty cool, and a bunch of... Oh, hold on. We got something really cool, actually. Did I miss the scandal, says Lexin. I heard this isn't the scandal yet a bunch of times. The scandal? Well, there are multiple scandals. But the big one for me, I think, is the replacement of the Firstborn. I think that's like the big secret thing that's going to be going down, is that now the Firstborn players are being forced pretty much to rebuy their models too after having bought the Primaris. But aside from that, I think it's just the general people generally speaking are not big fans of these new model reveals at all for the 11th edition. Saying that they're looking a little bit basic. I think they kind of look the way you would expect Space Marines to look, you know? But I think the Games Workshop are in a little bit of a bind here because there's a little bit of Space Marine fatigue in the community generally. Like, in a lot of ways, it does feel like it is just Games Workshop kind of phoning it in a little. No, I don't think they do that. I imagine sculptors are going to be big fans, you know, generally speaking. And actually, I heard some interesting information that I think there's a big conception in the community that the different teams of sculptors within Games Workshop are kind of in competition with one another. You know, like the Age of Sigmar guys, like, because Age of Sigmar are constantly getting these amazing sculpts, and it feels like 40k are getting like pretty lackluster sculpts by comparison. But apparently it is just all mixed. It's all one big hodgepodge, like a big orgy. Now, let me see this. I saw this. This looks pretty cool. This is the Ulan officer. I want to see what the cavalry model looks like. I'm curious now. I'm really curious. Ooh. Nice. Ooh. Yeah, we have... Oh, the horse has a gas mask! That's how you know it's properly grimdark. That's how you know it's properly grimdark. Look at that. Yep, okay. And we got a bunch of bases in here too. These are nice. These are nice kind of scenic bases, so you don't have to base your own. Although I do typically always base my own. Oh, bit of a broken tree. Again, the packaging is lovely. Oh yeah, so it could go on like that, or I guess probably better. Probably put it like this. Yeah. The Firstborn Vanguard veterans have bespoke armor and a lot of extra detailing that is absent with the new reveal model. That's why people are annoyed, says Sceptered. Yeah, like the reveals just have been really lackluster. I think that's been the case though, generally speaking. The Firstborn are kind of carrying over, I think, a lot of the Primaris elements. A lot of the more planar iteration that the Primaris bring. This is the sniper. Wow. I love this model, actually. This looks great. Huh. These are really cool. Huh. Like, Witchart did send these to me to check out, and honestly, looks really cool. I'm a big fan. Looks neat. Yeah, looks really cool. I like these. Oh, I like this. Flamethrower. Flamethrower guy. Hell yeah. Nice. So yeah, a lot of really neat models. Let me just see what the head looks like on the officer. Hope lives. I think I'm the only one, but that first orc reveal was really boring. I think it's the fact is Games Workshop decided to show a basic infantry. You know, it wasn't anything exciting. That's the officer head, it looks like, which is cool. I dig it. It's very grimdark, very grimdark, which I think for a lot of Weird War stuff is. I mean, World War I was pretty grimdark. But yeah, I think that they decided to lead 11th edition by revealing essentially just a bunch of basic looking models. And the models they have shown so far seem like they don't have a lot of style or vibe. I mean, as Scepter says, there's a ton more bling on the old Firstborn stuff that it just seems like the new stuff does not have. I've been eyeing some new Trench Crusader terrain. It is Tyranid themed, says Rose. Very cool. Well, what is it gonna be, like a giant crucifix with a big old Tyranid spore over it? Want to see these Expeditionary Force add-on. Polish Troopers. I did like the orc that was shown. I like the proportions of it. These are nice. Last Remembrancer, thank you very much for the $2 donation. That sniper is shooty. I'm dead killy. Very nice. Thank you. Really appreciate that. They keep throwing gack at the wall in hopes of impressing someone, says Man of Action. You know, I don't know if it is that. I think they're, in a lot of ways, I think they know that there was a lot of criticism. Like, they did try to go ballsy with some Primaris reveals. Oh, look at this guy. See, there's like a little bit of a Japanese presence, I think, here. Maybe it's just the helmet there. I don't know. They did try to go really ballsy with some of the reveals in previous editions, right? Like, whenever they did the Primaris, God, what were they called? The big massive guns, the Centurions, the big mechs and stuff. I was not a fan of those when they went really crazy. So they've kind of dialed it all back a lot. They've dialed it all back a whole ton. And, but they've gone super plain with it. And I think that is a bit of a failure. Like, Space Marines, to be honest, so the Space Marines I have are Black Templar. And the reason they're Black Templar is because they have a ton of the drip. They look really cool. And I just do not think that the newer models shown, especially the Blood Angel stuff. The Blood Angels got treated really badly. Like, the player I have, so the person I know who plays Blood Angels didn't buy any of the new stuff because they just did not like it at all. Glenn says, I guess with the starter set, you sort of want simpler models, so it'll look real unimpressive to long-term fans. I don't think you want that. I think with the you want everyone to buy it. You want everyone to buy it no matter what. I think Games Workshop just want to maximize sales. Maybe that is part of it. Maybe it's making the minis look a little bit plainer and it's kind of harder to test. Maybe, I guess. I think it's just an actual aesthetic thing. I think they're just making, it's just filler Space Marines. And they have CAD and they can copy and paste library assets. And I think they're kind of copying and pasting a lot of stuff so they can get the models done and out. And it's hard not to see Space Marines being a little bit phoned in. A little bit phoned in these days. Unlike, I gotta say, these models from Witch Art 3D. I'm a big fan of those. Big fan of those. I think they were printed out perfectly. No issues, no resin or anything, so no wet resin at all, as far as I could see. Looks like everything was perfectly printed, so I recommend them. Witch Art 3D. Witch Art and 3D printing, they're called. You can go on their website, which is witchart3d.com. Let me pop that in the... There you go. You can go in there if you are interested in them. Thanks very much for sending that out. I figured I would check it out on stream, I guess. Now that we're talking Trench Crusade. And Trench Crusade's in a little bit of a weird spot right now, but they do have that new starter set themselves coming up, which looks really interesting. A lot, especially because they have bound it up with a narrative campaign, and I think it's going to go on the shelves. I don't know which one comes out first. I don't know if that set comes out or if 11th edition comes out. I think it's the Carcass front for Trench Crusade, so it means they're going to be on shelves at the same time, kind of competing with one another, which is going to be very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Blood Angels got played, says Man of Action. I just think that, I don't know, I just feel like the designs just weren't particularly, like, really, really neat. You guys got me talking about skirmish games, though. Have you seen this game? This is... probably my most anticipated game in a really long time. Like, forget 11th edition. Forget Warhammer 40k 11th edition. Here's what I'm here for. This is what I'm into. I'm into this. This is my vibe right now. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen this game? This looks so cool. This looks so exciting. Cosmic Horror from Spectre Miniatures. I don't know if I've shown this on stream before, but I've been checking this out lately, and it looks like it got backed. Yeah, that's 51,000 for a 13,000 pound gold. Looks like it got backed, and seven days to go still. Okay, so this will climb higher for sure. This is a supernatural horror game. A supernatural miniature horror game. I love horror. I love miniatures. I love Lovecraft, and that's what this is. This is like a Lovecraft game set in the 1930s. There's a trailer, so I have no idea what the heck. What are we gonna see here? Ooh. Look at the production values on this. Look at that. Yeah, this game looks really interesting. This is a 1930s game where there's monsters and there's ghouls, and you're playing different groups, different agencies, trying to, it reminds me, any of the long-term, this is how you know the OG fans of Discourse Minis. If you remember, I used to play a ton of Arkham Horror, the card game. This game really reminds me of Arkham Horror, the card game. Because what you do is, this is not like one of those games where you're just running around shooting each other. You're trying to grab cover and shooting each other. You're playing like cultists, or I think the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Putting Down Cults. And you're going to these different mythos locations, and yeah, there's the cards. You're trying to investigate these locations to then draw these cards from the mythos deck, which does stuff, which can be crazy, like pulling ghouls, summoning ghouls, or giving you fragments and things. And so the maps are kind of like these areas where there's just locations that you have to investigate. It reminds me a lot of a more ambitious, and honestly, in my opinion, a bit more interesting Silver Bayonet game, where there's just scenarios on the board that you're going to go into, and instead of you just fighting each other, you're actually just trying to investigate stuff, collect resources, collect these things called fragments that you use in the campaign to then put new cards into the Mythos deck. And these new cards will be things like the Necronomicon, and because you're looking for the Necronomicon, and that means that when in future games, whenever you're drawing from the Mythos deck, you could find the Necronomicon. It does really cool stuff. And yeah, it looks really neat. It looks really cool. The starter set, I think 2 factions are the FBI, and actually I did get some models. And I'll show you them. Some of these are mine, but some of them were sample miniatures sent out to me. Woo. Some of them I painted all these so quickly. It's actually insane how quickly I painted them. Now, when you see them, you're gonna realize why. You're gonna realize why I got them painted so quickly. But I think they're pretty neat. So it is Lovecraftian, which means that yes, you are going to be playing, mortals. You're gonna be playing mortals, but you are also going to be playing little monsters, or rather, there's gonna be little monsters running around. I don't know how much you play as them, but I do know there's these guys. So this is one I painted earlier. These cultists, you can see here, these are secret society members. There's some buildings in Belfast in town that I'm pretty sure these guys meet up in my local town. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. There's like weird chairs and stuff in there. So yeah, they have a bunch of these cultist models that are basically dudes with guns. These are like unaligned models. They're not for any crew, but you could kind of use them in any one of them. And that's what I use them for. Now, this is one that I actually own already myself. This is an older model, but you get it, I think, on the Kickstarter. This is like the cult leader. You can see he's reading from the tablet. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that in the camera. One thing I love about this model is that, talk about the detailing, there's actual text written on this tablet. And little images and stuff. It's really cool. That farm style scenery looks so clean in the video, says Hope. I know, right? It looks so good. And yeah, so there's a bunch of these cultist dudes, little cultist guys, but what do you do when you find cultists? You shoot them dead. Or rather, no, sorry, my mistake. You record them first. This is one of my favorite models now. I absolutely love this model. So this is for the Bureau, and this is one of the factions in the game where they're investigating the supernatural, and they have a bunch of game mechanics where they actively are trying to put down the supernatural. So their characters can burn down. So those mythos locations that I was talking about earlier that you have to go to investigate, to draw cards from it, to progress the game, these guys can burn them down. They just destroy them. They are like, no, I don't think so. This guy here can record your enemy. So what you want to do is you want to get this guy up close to one of the cultist models and just start recording the shit out of them. Or anything supernatural. Because you're trying to acquire evidence, And this here is another one. So you can see I've themed my characters. I think my characters is kind of like the Men in Black. So I've put them all in black suits Because this is like the Bureau, you know, it's like early days Delta Green is what these are. So she's like got a clipboard. This is the protagonist characters for the Bureau. I can't remember what they're called necessarily. Can't remember what they're called, but yeah, she is a lovely, lovely looking sculpt. These are from Spectre miniatures. Here's another one. Here's another lady. Here's another lady. She's putting her hand up to her mouth, going like, shh. Which is something I can never do. And she's got a gun. She's got a gun. Because this faction here, this Bureau faction, these guys are the dudes with guns. These guys are the guys who like have guns. So you can see I've done them all in black suits. And they're equipped with all this different stuff because this is set in the 1930s. So you can see they've all got like Tommy guns and big coats and fedoras and stuff. These are a joy to paint. Black Templar. Just Black Templar. That's it. Just Black Templar. I got a whole bunch of them. Shotguns. They're very neat. These are assortment. I got sent some sample minis from Spectre for this. But also I happen to own a bunch that I bought myself. So I've just brought them all randomly out. This is a wizard, I think. I think this guy is an investigator, like an Armitage Society dude. There's like a bunch of different factions. There's the Federal Bureau dudes that I've shown you. There's cultists who are trying to like raise the dead and discover immortality, but they're the Salted Tongue. But then there's also musicians. There's like a musician crew who are all into like playing music, and then there is the classic Cthulhu one, but they're all about dreams. And of course, you know, it wouldn't be a Cthulhu game without some deep ones, or rather, these are hybrids. I think these are the people of Innsmouth. These are guys who are kind of half man, half fish dude. Half fish dude. Oh yeah. Yeah, the X-Files 1930s style, says Steven. That's exactly what this game is. And I think one of the things that really excited me about this, right, is not just the miniatures, not just the Lovecraftian miniatures, as good as they look. I'm a big fan of these because they're very realistically proportioned. But the gameplay that Spectre have been describing in the Kickstarter is a very investigation-focused game where you and your opponent are going to be like trying to investigate the supernatural on the table. And I love a game that tries to do a different kind of gameplay than one that's just about killing each other. Now, there are some monsters here. I got this little guy. Look at this little guy. Look at this little, isn't he cute? Isn't this dude so cute? Look at him with little eyes. He like sees you. No matter where you are, he can see you. He can see you. This is one of the horrors in the game, although this is like a little, I think this is like a dark young or something. I'm not sure what this would be called. It looks really cool. And I've got another little hybrid dude here with this little bowler hat, little Riddler. This is the Riddler, but in Innsmouth. This is the Riddler Innsmouth guy. Tommy Gunners, hell yeah. A real black tailored skirting in other minis. These are great. Yeah. But of course, it wouldn't be complete without an actual big massive monster, would it? Look at this thing. This is a monstrosity. So this is the sort of stuff that you might uncover, you know, investigating the board. You're going to find this sort of stuff. And this looks awesome. This was a joy to paint. Can you guess how long it took me to paint this? 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and I was done. I was like so happy with it. It looks so good. I think this came out really well. This was a dry brush. Just spray black, dry brush white, dreadful visage. That's it. Each eye, Mephisto on red. Boom. Oh, look at him. He's just ready to eat ya. Just eat ya, but yum, yum, yum. Yeah, this thing was a joy to contrast paint as well, because it just came out perfectly. That's just Daryl. Daryl wants a hug. So yeah, there's these big massive monsters. Now, I don't think these get controlled by the players. These are like NPCs that will eat your dudes. They will eat your dudes. I don't know if other factions get to control them. I know the Bureau, for example, will not have fun with them. And one of the things about the game is every character has like a horror stat, and it builds up through the game. And as their horror goes higher, this is a ghoul, by the way. Hope you like ghouls. This little ghoul guy painted up earlier. As the horror goes up, they then become corrupt as well. And as you get more and more corrupted, you basically go crazy, you go mad, and your like pets and stuff turn on you. Your dog can maul you to death, I think, if you get too corrupted, which is just a ton of fun. I love it so much. So it's a game that's really trying to do stuff. I think it's kind of neat. These are all really nice looking minis. I was a big fan of these. I'm a real sucker for like Lovecraft stuff. I just think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. So yeah, if you're interested in Lovecraft minis, you might want to check out the Cosmic Horror Kickstarter that's up right now. It looks like there's a ton more minis coming for it. Big old rule book, and yeah, here's a bunch of the minis. So I didn't show any of these because I don't have them painted, so they're currently just sprayed black for me right now. This is the Order of the Salted Tongue. They got this little guy here who looks kind of neat. And then those are the ones I was going through, the FBST, the agents, because I think they look very cool. I did mine all in black because I think it's neat. This stuff looks so good and the painting is not bad either. Thank you so much, Nosbig Damas. Thank you. I really appreciate that. The Mythos subjects, so some minor Mythos locations. And that's what you do. You go around kind of investigating Mythos locations. There's witnesses you can talk to, and you can kill them. And whenever people die, they leave these little, like, they leave corpses, and the Order of the Salted Tongue can like resurrect the corpse. That's how you get these little monsters, these little unmade, and the FBST can like investigate the corpses to see how they got killed, and they can get fragments and knowledge and stuff that way. And it's all about kind of gaining knowledge. Seems like a very campaign-based game to me. One of those games where you're gonna want to play linked games, because it's all about gathering these resources and then using them to get powered up later on, and buying new stuff, buying new cards, buying new characters for your set. Actually, yeah, and everyone's defined by kind of their carry capacity as well, like how much stuff you can carry, because it's going to be one of those games where you run around picking things up and trying to escape with it off the board. There's a ton of them, and of course there's also the big giant monsters as well, because this is a Lovecraft game, so you've got to have like Cthulhu and stuff. You got to have a whole bunch of them. The assemblies, so you got the Federal Bureau of Special Threats, that's the one I showed, the Order of the Salted Tongue, which are the worshippers of Yog-Sothoth. This cult draws from academics, alchemists, necromancers, and sorcerers. They use arcane methods to render the dead into essential salts, have the power to call them back, along with things far worse. Come on, how cool is that? Church of the Eternal Baptism, which I think are Cthulhu. I think they worship Cthulhu, because that's Innsmouth, right? Oh, Dagon, of course it's Dagon. There's the Dreamtide of Cthulhu, which are all about Cthulhu, and the Nine-Horned Circle, the Black Goat of the Woods. Yeah, shit, Naguruf. Yeah. The Black Goat with 1,000 young. Hell yeah! Oh, I love this stuff. I love Lovecraft stuff so much. I'm really excited to see more miniatures for this game, because the ones so far have looked fantastic. Armitage Society, Arkham Fright Company, which are just like smugglers and gangsters with Tommy guns fighting Cthulhu? Come on, like, that's amazing. And the Concord of the Secret Rhythm. So yeah, it looks like a whole bunch of the stretch goals have been unlocked, and this is Spectre miniatures, and so I don't think they've done very many Kickstarters before in the past, but they do have a store, and I have bought from them a bunch, and they've worked out. They've always been good. The miniature quality has always been great. So yeah, that's something I've been checking out lately. So I thought you'd be interested. Last Remembrancer, thank you very much for the $10 donation. Thank you. Says, have you heard of the rules Black Sun by Crucible Crush Games? It's Cthulhu Vietnam, and the miniatures are pretty awesome. It might shock you, Last Remembrancer, to know that yes, indeed, I do know all about Black Sun. I've been following it for a while now. I actually emailed the author of and it was like, this sounds badass. Send me a review copy, please. I would like to check this out on the channel at some stage. So, yeah, I'm hoping to cover it whenever it comes out. I'm really looking forward to it. It is indeed a Vietnam-based game. I don't know if there's a website for it. One of the things that I don't think there is a website actually, because Black Sun ended up being used for a bunch of different stuff. But I did see the creator of it had. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of a different one. I'm thinking of a different game. Black Sun Ooh, looks like, okay, hold up. So here we go. I just found this. Black Sun, rules for a 28mm Weird Nam skirmish battle game. I'm thinking of a different game. What game am I thinking of? I have not played this game. It looks kind of cool. I think I've heard of it before, though. Supernatural. Miniatures. Vietnam. Red Jungle is what I've been thinking about. This is the one, because I saw this, and I just thought this was really fun. So, this is Red Jungle. It's an upcoming game, 28mm Supernatural Vietnam War skirmish game. This is the one I thought you were talking about. Uses 28mm figures. I know it's coming to Kickstarter soon, and this was just like a really silly like mock-up of those old, you know those old Games Workshop pictures where they were like playing, they were getting ready to play some like Space Hulk or something. It just really reminded me of that. I think it's meant to evoke that, and I thought that was really cool. Yeah, I thought that was really, really neat. So I have not played Black Sun, but I should check that out then. I should check that out. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Last Remembrancer. I will check that out. Hell yeah. That's rocking. I saw people were asking about it, so I'm just gonna show you. These are, I bought these, literally bought these the other day. These are from Mighty Minis, because I don't know, I'm sure some people will be interested in it. I bought these little guys. Check them out. I don't know if you can see them. They're little wee. They're so wee. They're so small. My War Master. I'm getting into War Master, you guys. I'm getting into War Master. I want to check it out. I got my little Empire army. I bought a little Empire army. It was literally like £25 for an army. I was like, damn, okay. I'm liking this smaller scale business. You can get a lot of stuff. You can get a lot of bang for your buck. Look at these little crossbow guys. I got these from Mighty Minis if you're interested. Look at the detailing on them though at this scale. It's absolutely crazy. They look so good. They look so good. Now, they did come with a bunch of supports, but I have subsequently removed those supports. This is what I do in my relaxing off time. If I'm not talking or writing scripts about miniatures or RPGs, I'm building them or painting them. Yeah, so this is for War Master. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna review it. I'm gonna check out War Master Revolution and review that. So I got some Empire stuff. Got a little Empire army. I thought it was really affordable to get into. Really affordable to get into. The rules for War Master Revolution are all free. Totally free. Because it's a fan project. Don't tell Games Workshop. And the models are... There's a lot of competition, actually, for printing the models from different creators. I got from Mighty Minis. Because they sold 1,000 points army for £25. So I bought an Empire army and I bought a Dark Elf army to fight them. Because I like Dark Elves and I like Empire. They're two of my favorite factions. I miss rank and file fantasy battles, says Rose Kindred. Well, we talked about Kings of War earlier. Monty Orcs are cool, says Last Remembrancer. They are cool. Nos Biggest says also Stranger Things. Ooh. Colin Mack says, honestly, the Kings of War models are a lot better. The elves are due a refresh, but they are Bob Naismith sculpts, so sell because of that. The army boxes are great deals, and the seals. I think that Kings of War is pretty affordable, honestly. It is very, very affordable. I think Mandy Game in general is pretty good. Whenever you're not buying the resin. I think the resin stuff is quite a bit more expensive, but if you're buying hard plastic sculpts, like they're very affordable, including the newer stuff, you know? The newer stuff, which I think a lot of that is actually being made by Archon Studios. Don't quote me on that, though. Warmaster itself got me it free under the old Living Rulebook stuff, that Fnatic Specialist Games thing. Oh, did it, huh? I haven't played Warmaster yet, so I have no opinions on it. However, it looks very interesting. The reason why I started thinking about Warmaster, though, is because I've been playing a ton of... Tell me if you've played this, chat, please. I'm playing a ton of Armored Clash. This game has been like my obsession. I first reviewed it last year, and it's stuck with me. It really stuck with me, and I've been working tirelessly on a Union army. Armored Clash, for you, if you don't know, let me see if I can pull it up. This is growing into being one of my favorite war games, I think. Like, entirely, like ever. Never mind 10mm scale. So I've talked about it before, but this is a 10mm scale game set an alternative 19th century where alien UFOs were discovered. Whoops. Alien UFOs were discovered, crashed in the Arctic, and they've used that, the nation states of the 19th century have used that to create these massive weapons of war that are just insane. The technology has been supercharged, but it's all like kind of Victorian. It's so crazy and weird. It's very steampunky, very sci-fi. And the factions, it's alt history, so the factions are strange. There's like the Celestian Empire, which is basically Asia, all of Asia, all joined up in one big massive empire, with 9 immortal kings. So there's all sorts of weird stuff going on. I'm playing as the Union, is my faction of choice. Let me see if I can... I've got some of them sitting around, because I've been painting them. I've been painting a bunch of them. I think I've shown this one before, though. It's one of my favorite models. This is an airplane. You see this? Look! Look, it's an airplane. It's an airplane in a war game. And guess what? It's really good. It's actually really good in the game. These planes are so cool. So, Armor Clash is 10mm, which means you get this massive scale, right? You're playing on like a 4x4, but you're controlling this massive army. And how the planes work is they go flying. They go off map. And then, whenever, at any stage during the turn, when you activate them, it's an alternating activation game, so you're not activating all your army, then you're activating all yours. You alternate one unit, I activate one unit, back and forth. If I go, I want to activate my plane comes from off board, I pick wherever I want it to come in on, then it comes in, and I point it straight line, and it goes that way. And it has unlimited movement. So it goes, and then stops at whatever it wants to shoot. And then I ask you, do you have any anti-air that can shoot it, that's in range, that are on lookout, that are basically like taking a step, like, you know, you can go on Overwatch, basically. Do you have any anti-air that's on Overwatch? And if you don't, I just go, shoot your thing, and then, wow, then continue off. And you can shoot it at any stage, you know, in that line. And it shoots and comes off the board, and every turn I can keep doing that. And it's so cool until it gets shot down. And if it gets shot down, then that's bad. But I love them so much. It's so cool. So I'm the Union. You might be able to tell who the Union are. They're the war crime faction. And, oops. I think they're so neat. I've got my little army here. I've got so many of them. And if you want to know what it looks like for a 10mm game, fully based, look at this. This is one of my units here. This is one of my units. These are my infantry. If you like War Master, then Blitzkrieg Commander, Cold War Commander, and Future War Commander rules are based off it. Nice. So these are my Federal troopers. And these are, so they are square bases for these, and these are 3D printed little movement trays I've gotten for them. But it's a very easy game to like move units around in. Very easy. And this is my, see, look, I've got little cowboys. I got little cowboys in my faction. Look. Little cowboys. And I do always wear my Texan cowboy hat when I play this faction. I haven't painted this flag yet. Please don't judge me. Please don't judge me. But look, I even 3D printed some little cactus and put the little cactus on there because they're in the desert. It's so cool. I love it. It's so cute. I love these models so much. These are so fun. I really enjoyed painting them. I just spray them blue and I stick on a couple of bits of metal. But I think what's the funnest part about painting them are the tanks. Here's some Union tanks. I painted these up the other day. These are the Rolling Thunder tanks. The Rolling Thunder. They're so cool. They drive around. They look like toys, and I love it so much. So this is the kind of stuff that they're getting up to now in the 19th century. These things are beasts, by the way. The game has a really interesting mechanical system. Oh, here's the leader of that squad. Look, it's another cowboy with a pair of binoculars looking at it. Being like, drive me closer to the enemy. I want to hit them with my 6-shooter. They've got the little Gatling guns. There's just so much detail packed onto these, but they're not hard to paint at all, which is what I really, really enjoy about them. Those are the Rolling Thunders. And they're heavy units, so everything is classified as light, heavy, or air, basically. And all weapon profiles, you know, some weapon profiles are good against light, some are good against heavy, some are good against air, some can only shoot a certain type of thing. One thing that can't shoot air, but can shoot light and heavy and do a really good job of it are these. These are they're called the Lamplighters. I call them the War Crime Bus. They are flamethrower trucks. So there's a lot of the sprues, basically, that you buy for this game come with multiple ways to build models. So this model here, I could build it either as a lamplighter, which I did, with a flamethrower on the top, because of course I did, or you could build it as an Ironhide transport, which is like a transport truck. I built this as a lamplighter. They can transport guys in the back, but they also have flamethrower. They got limited capacity because of the flamethrowers, but I don't really mind. I don't really mind, because you want them whenever they get to wherever they're going to do a lot of work. So painted up a whole bunch of those. These were really fun, just like blue and metal and gold, and they come out so good. And at the scale of 10 millimeters, this is what I'm discovering, it's what I'm learning, is that at 10 millimeters, kind of things can look, you just paint them very simply and they'll look really good. Here's my mechs, here's my robots. These are my robot guys, these are my arcs. I actually did do the flag on this one here, you can see. So technically it's not the United States, it's like the Union of States or something. It's like an alt history thing where the Union is different. They're actually currently invading South America is what they're up to. So that's fun. That's a lot of fun. I love these guys. These are my little robots. These are my little robots. I did these guys for the Idaho flag. I figured the robots would all be from Idaho. I think it's Idaho. Is this the flag of Idaho? Tell me, chat, please. Codcatcher on the front, flamethrower on the top. It's a mobile barbecue truck, says Rose. Yeah. Those look sharp. Good work, Discourse. Thank you very much, Last. So, the thing about the Union is they did just come out of a big civil war. The Ore War. And so, they have a lot of robots that they use. They actually use a lot of robots to replace their lost, basically. They are one of the factions that has really suffered from the big old wars that are happening. What that means, though, is that they're kind of an up-and-comer faction. They are, you know, like the Crown are the British in this, and they still have the British Empire, but they're kind of like a faction on decline. The Union are kind of on their way up. They're resurgent. They're just after a big civil war, and now they're on the rise. So they've got a bunch of robots. They have a bunch of little robot boys, which I love. They have a real spirit of, shall we say, optimism and manifest destiny. Here are my pacifiers, so-called because they've got giant Gatling guns. They're in like full metal suits, and these guys, I haven't done the little star. These guys are meant to be from Texas. So these are my Texan pacifiers. So they've all got a little officer base, which is important. So I haven't painted it yet, but every faction kind of has some super weapons, some big, massive, like super units. For the Union, it is this thing. I really wanna bring it on in a certain way, but it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It is. Look. Look. What is it? It's a train. It's a train. It's a train with articulation, so you can like move it around. I've got magnets, so you can just change out how you want to build it, like what way you want the carriages to go. Oh no, broke a little model. It's incredible. I love this thing. It's so good. It's so incredible. Oh, you got like a little train. This thing is awesome. I love it. I've magnetized the tops of them so that you can just change up what type of vehicle, like what type of turret you want on it. So I haven't painted this yet, but it's like a hover train basically. These things are crazy on the table because they can bring a bunch of carriages. Now, you're not limited in, I've only got these carriages here, but you're not limited in those. You can just keep bringing more carriages and a bunch of different types. There's like one that you can transport trucks and cars. But I have like an artillery one here that shoots out artillery. I have one that's got like a bunch of big cannons that's great against vehicles. And I have this one, which is a garrison one that you can use to transport people around. And they give you a little space, a little gap, where you can put the magnet in, so that you can just magnetize them together. Because if you see, I've got a little magnet here in each one of these little bits. And then you just magnetize them together, and you can push it around. It's so cool. It's so awesome. Although I maybe should have bought slightly stronger magnets, I think. But you can't push it in. It's really neat. I fucking love this thing. I absolutely love this thing. This is so cool. It's one of the reasons why I really wanted to get into the Union. Whoa, look at Wagga's tail. They just have a really interesting element. Now, I did get sent some stuff by War Cradle. Specifically, they sent me out this. This is not a Union unit, because I collect Union. You know, I'm Union till I die. But this is a big old French behemoth. So this is kind of give you an example of what usually a faction gets as its big super unit, right? They're not all trains. This is the, oh god, it's the Valencia land ship, I believe it's called. So this is huge. Like if you compare it against, here's a base of infantry. That's how big it is. And these are so weird. This is like a brick. How this thing works is, because all the super units, this is the thing I really love about this game, right? This is why I really like Armored Clash. Every single faction brings something unique to the table, and I think War Cradle have done a really good job of making the epic scale of the game truly epic. Because there are other games out there. Games Workshop, for example, do Legions Imperialis. Now, I haven't played a lot of Legions Imperialis, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like there's ever anything that truly epic that happens in it. It's like Games Workshop don't take advantage of the medium, of the epic scale. Instead, what they do is just go, hey, it's Warhammer 40k, but big. But with Armored Clash, this gun, okay, this is a giant gun. All right, this is a giant cannon. The giant cannon. It can shoot its gun 32 inches, okay, and it hits everything in a row. Like everything it hits. So if it's firing here, and you have like a truck unit, you got some tanks and some infantry, it just fires and hits all of the units. And it deals like 16 dice worth of damage. It's crazy. It kills everything it shoots. Now, it does hit its own units if they're in that line, but you know, you can't win them all. And then it has to recharge, so every other turn it can fire, but it just fires this massive cannon, and it is so funny, and I got devastated by it. When I played a game of it. I got absolutely crushed. I got absolutely demolished. The other thing that the French get, so that's like, this is the French faction. They're called the Alliance. The other thing they get are these, and this is something I really wanted to talk about. Actually, I'm going to talk about it in a video upcoming. But this is the type of faction variety I really like. These are drop pods. The French get drop pods. They get drop pods, and they start off the map, and they can drop in anywhere on the map from turn 2. And they unleash hell on your opponent. They can just drop pod down around the map. The French are like a really weird faction. They are a very mobile faction, but in a really unconventional way, where they can drop pod stuff around. They have light tanks. They don't have a main battle tank. They have lots of other like weirder stuff. They got these little tiny, so I did try my hand at painting them. I'm not sure about the color scheme, but they got these little tiny charrette tanks, which are technically not tanks. They're actually in the cavalry category. And usually tanks are in armor, but these aren't. These are in cavalry. And that sounds so like, okay, who cares? But actually, in this game, infantry and cavalry can capture objectives. So it means your little tiny tank can capture objectives. And it's still a tank, so it's a heavy unit. So if you've got like a rifle, you can't hurt this thing, you know? Yeah, I've been quietly obsessed with this game for a while now, and I guess now you're seeing it. I'm coming out as a fan. I'm coming out as a fan of Armored Clash. It's happening. The French went to space, says Frozen Throg. Hell yeah, the French went to space. The factions are weird. So there's like a bunch of different ones. The only place Protestantism hasn't reached. There's a bunch of different factions. You got the French Alliance. You've got the Lithuanian, Polish, and Russian Commonwealth. You got the British Crown. You got the sort of Empire, the Celestian Empire. You have the Enlightened, who are basically the War of the Worlds faction. They've got these giant walkers. They're like mad scientists. They're the head of science, basically. They're the ones who are inventing so much of the stuff. You've got the Imperium, who are the Germans. The Germans and the Nordic countries. You have the Sultanate, who are crazy. These are like the Arabic world and a lot of Africa. And they they've got teleporters, and there's aliens in their faction. They've got actual aliens from outer space, which is kind of crazy. And then my faction, the war crime faction, the Union. Yeah, there's a ton of really good art. All the rules are free. Like all of these here, these Orbats are basically their codexes. They're all free. You can check them out and there's tons of lore. Absolutely tons of lore, which is kind of crazy. Actually, there's like so much lore in this stuff. Ignore all the rules on the train. The train has like 3 rules, like 3 pages of rules as to how it works. Like, okay, hold on. It's kind of lagging out a little bit. So, let me show you. Like, look at this art. There's just so much good art in this game. Yeah, the Lakota, that's my train. But yeah, look at all this lore. There's like every single. This is kind of how I wish. They used to do this with the codexes in Warhammer 40k, where they used to just have like a bunch of lore, like a page of lore for each unit. And I just think it's really cool. I think it's really neat. I really like it. I'm a really big fan of this game. I really like it. The gameplay is a ton of fun. It does use custom dice, but you do get custom dice pretty much on everything you buy. You get them like in every single starter set, and you get loads of them too. You get like too much, really, if anything. You get too much custom dice. They're really fun to roll. But I think the big thing it's like an alternating action game that has a really interesting system. It's been designed by a bunch of veteran designers. But I think the really cool element is you get this, which are these Command and Conquest cards. This is my Union deck. This is my Union one. This is my Union Command and Conquest. So you get these cards. Basically, you get a big deck of cards, and you can see every single card has a conquest element or a command element. And what you can do is you draw a hand of these every turn. Depending on the battle size, you get more cards. And then you can, as the game goes on, you can score them, such as play this card when you annihilate an enemy unit with a light target attack. You score 1 victory point if it was a basic unit, 2 if it was reinforced, or 3 if it was a full strength unit. It's basically how many bases of models they've brought. So that gives you a little objective to do. Or you could spend it doing this. Play this card at the start of your movement step. Increase this unit's speed by 2 inches during the step. So every card has like an objective on it or a special ability. And you have this huge deck of them. And you basically can score these, or you can use them as superpowers to buff up your units. And I'm a big fan of it. I think it works really well. We saw it in Spearhead recently. And it's just so much fun to interact with. And you also use them for like morale checks too. Whenever you're testing for morale, you draw a card from the top of the deck, and you need a number that is equal to or less than their morale stat, basically. And what that means is you actually, as you take morale tests, you discard the card after you take the test with it. So you start to lose your deck. And that's bad, because you can, when you're using one of the commands on them, you can play a card, you play a face down, and you say, I'm going to do a special order, and your opponent can play one of their cards from their hand and try and interfere with it. And whoever has the highest numbered card wins. So if you were trying to do this, play this card after rolling the dice for a close quarters attack, re-roll any dice that shows a blank result, and I played this to interfere, I would actually cancel out your card, because my card's higher than yours. Yours is 7 and mine's is 12. So it's really neat. It's got like a bunch of like these really interesting game mechanics, and I just don't see it talked about enough. So this is me trying to get people to talk about it more. I want people to talk about it more, because I feel like the the epic game space, you know, there should be, it's actually a little fun. I think people get scared off by the smaller scale, but they shouldn't be. It's a ton of fun to hobby in, ton of fun to play in as well. Good, hello there, Ratty Pumpkin. How's it going? I hope things are doing well. I think we're nearing the end of the stream here. It's been around 2 hours, but I've had a ton of fun actually talking about a bunch of games. Talking about a whole bunch of games and different models. And yeah, we talked about the Space Marine models. We talked about the Imperial Guard miniatures. We've talked about the fact that Space Marine players are going to have to rebuy their entire library if they're only fans of First Port, probably. Are we going to see what happened to the Sigmarines? I always forget their real name. Oh god, Sigmarine Stormcast Turtle. Got it. Are we going to see what happened to them? Because they lost a whole bunch of stuff at the beginning of their edition, of the new edition of Age of Sigmar. Sorry, girl painting. Sorry. It's all ogre now. It's all ogre now. Thanks to everybody who joined me today. I had a ton of fun looking at a bunch of new games as well. I hope maybe you saw some stuff that might interest in you. There have been links posted all over the place throughout the chat, so you should be able to get through to them. And yeah, look out for the next video. The next video will be actually talking about a bunch of these games. I'll be talking about a bunch of these games and why I think they're really interesting and why I think people who are into Warhammer should maybe check some of them out. What's so good about it? Actually, yeah, I'll talk about it in another stream. There was something I wanted to say, but I'll talk about it in another stream. We'll close it off here. It's midnight for me. So thanks very much for joining me today. I had a ton of fun. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who donated. Thank you to everybody who joined us, who chatted, who had some fun. And I had a blast. And I will see you all in 2 weeks, maybe. Or no, actually, I'll see you all very shortly, because there's going to be a new video very shortly. But then after that, a little bit. Thanks, everybody. I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.